I'm Barry Tramel, and I say the Big 12 football bowl schedule is disappointing.
6 games and some teams that aren't really that good on the other side of the ledger. From the Opopco Studios in Oklahoma City, you're watching the Press Row. I'm Jenni Carlson. Barry, this is a lot of Big 12 teams and a lot of sort of interesting storylines in those Big 12 teams. But you've got some teams with some major losses on the other side of these matchups. Missouri-Iowa, though, is the first one out of the gate. That might be one of the better matchups.
It's an interesting matchup. These teams, these schools are 230 miles apart, very similar in history, very similar in culture. You would think they would be natural rivals, which explains why they haven't played since 1910. College football will drive you nuts sometimes. But this is a game the Big 12 wanted. They did not want Nebraska playing Iowa in what would be a Big 10 infomercial. So Missouri's there. Iowa has been reeling. I like Missouri in this game.
Yeah, I do too. Not by a wide margin, but I'll go with Missouri. The next Big 12 bowl that jumps out there is Texas, the Texas Bowl, and this is Baylor versus Illinois. A team in Baylor that at the beginning of the year, there was a question, can these guys get back to a bowl game? They made it, and they didn't have to wait until the last week of the season or anything to get in. I think Baylor's going to be really excited to play in a bowl game. This is an experience that they haven't had in many, many years. And I think just on the face of it, I like Baylor as the better team. But Barry, I think they're going to be excited in this game. I'm going with Baylor in the Texas Bowl.
Yeah, I like Baylor too. I think they'll be excited to play in that one. In the Pinstripe Bowl, Yankee Stadium, Syracuse, Kansas State, huge regional edge for Syracuse. But I tell you, I like Bill Snyder in this game. I like Kansas State in this game. The Wildcats play tough football. I think it's going to be a good game with Kansas State, Syracuse. I like the intersectional matchup, Kansas State, Syracuse in New York. Good for the Wildcats to get to play in a historic stadium like Yankee Stadium. I think they take advantage of it.
Yeah, I like K-State in this one too. I think there'll be a decent amount of Syracuse fans there, but I think K-State's the better team in this game. I think they win that inaugural Pinstripe Bowl. Next up is the Holiday Bowl, a matchup that I'm not sure too many people are excited about, including the teams involved. This is Nebraska and Washington, a rematch of a game earlier this season, something you rarely see with bowl games. Nebraska won handily in that matchup earlier this year. I think Washington is playing better now than they were then, but I'm still picking Nebraska to win big. I think Nebraska showed in the Big 12 game, Big 12 championship game. They're also playing some of their best ball of the year. This may come down to who gets most excited about this matchup, Barry, but I still think Nebraska's the better team, but what a wacky thing having this rematch.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for Nebraska, but good riddance. That's what you get when you leave the conference. You take whatever they give you on your way out the door. I also like this game, the TicketCity Bowl, for this reason. Northwestern versus Texas Tech. I call this the Governor of Missouri Bowl. If you remember back in June, the Missouri Governor, Jay Nixon, spouting off his mouth, saying why wouldn't he want his state university to be in a league with the likes of Wisconsin and Northwestern over Texas Tech and Oklahoma State. He made lifelong enemies out of a lot of people in the Big 12. He's still in the Big 12. One of those teams is Texas Tech. Texas Tech will remember that for a long time. They're going to take it out on Northwestern. I think Tommy Tuberville can get his guys fired up pretty good with some of that. So I like Tech in this game. Northwestern has lost Dan Perza, its quarterback. Tech's going to win this game.
Yeah, I liked Tech as well in this game. And then lastly, we're going to talk about OU and OSU and their bowls a little bit later. But Barry, the last Big 12 game not involving our state teams is the Cotton Bowl. Texas A&M, LSU. I think this is going to be, again, we talked about good matchups to start with Missouri, Iowa. I think this is going to be another great matchup. I
think it's the best of the Big 12 bowl season. When you look at Oklahoma State, Missouri, and Nebraska, all four highly ranked teams. And all four got teams of inferior quality, 4 or 5 lost teams. Not so with A&M. The A&M's got a juggernaut in LSU. It's going to be a great matchup in Dallas. Sold out. The Cotton Bowl sold out almost instantly. So I think it's going to be a great game. I think LSU is going to get the Aggies. I'm not a believer in Ryan Tannehill. He hasn't thrown the ball to the other team like Jared Johnson is, but he's not a playmaker. I think LSU wins it in the Cotton Bowl.
Ryan Tannehill hasn't thrown it to the other team, but he's also not seen a defense quite like LSU's probably along the way either. Maybe some close defenses, maybe some in the same ballpark, but LSU's defense, very, very good. I think this is going to be one of those games that even on TV is going to be fun with that sold-out environment at Jerry World, the Cotton Bowl, people going crazy. I think this is going to be a really fun matchup. And Texas A&M at the beginning of the year, a lot of people thought they would be a player maybe more nationally. That didn't happen, but here's a chance for Texas A&M to show how far they've come. I still don't think they're to the level of LSU. Maybe if they'd have got one of these other inferior teams that the rest of the Big 12 did, maybe we'd see just how much Texas A&M has improved. But this is really going to be a tough matchup. I also like LSU. Hey, stay with the best coverage team anywhere at newsok.com and every day in the Oklahoman.